Next, let's talk about something called arrays. Basically, what an array is a list of data. So if I had something like variable num1 equals 5, in this variable, I can only store one value. But in an array, let's call this array1, I can store a list of values. So for this, we're going to use these brackets and then separate data with commas. It's like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this array holds all of these values. And in order to access a value in this array, we simply do, I'll print it out so that we can see. We simply do the name of the array, array1, and then we use those same brackets, and then we put the index at where it is. So the index is basically like a place. It's like a place, yeah. An index is basically like a place in an array, and it always starts with 0. So 5 is 0. So 5 is 0, 6 is 1, 7 is 2, and so on. So these define the place of where that value is in the array. So if I wanted to print 6, I can do array1 and then 1. And that's the index at where 6 is. So this will print 6, like that. And then if I wanted to print 9, I can do array4. If I run that, it'll print 9. There's a way that we can iterate or move through all the values in this array. We can use a for loop for that. So we can do for. Initially, we'd put an underscore if you remember. But now, what we can do is we can store the value of at the index in something. So let's say I'm going to call this var num in array1. So what I'm doing is, as it's going through the whole array1, it's going to store every value in this integer or in this variable num. So now I can print this. So I can do num. So if I run this, it'll print all the numbers that we have. Oh, I forgot to take this out, so that's why we have another 9 there. So if I take that out and run it, I get the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that we have in the array. We can also use this, it's unconventional, but we can also use this to print a certain number of times. Not worth it. We can also do manipulation with this. So we can say, we can also assign value in the array the same way that we got the value. So I can say for num in array1, before we use the for loop, let's try it without. So if I wanted to change the value of 5 to, let's say, 10, so I can do array1, since that's the name of our array, the brackets, and then the index, so 0, equals, and let's set it to 10. So now the value at 0 is 10. So if we print this out again, print num, we can see it prints 10 now. And we can also edit the value, or we can also change the value inside the for loop. So let's say I wanted to make all of these numbers or values plus 1. So I wanted to increase the value by 1. I can do array I would need to have an index in order to do this. So let's make an index. So I'd say var index equals 0, because that's what we start with. So I can say array at index equals num, and num is the value at the array at that index. So I can do num plus 1, and then we always want to remember to increase the value of the index like we did in the last video. So basically what we're doing here is we're saying array at the index variable, so 0, and then it keeps increasing by 1, so it increases indexes, is equal to num, and num is the value at the array right now plus 1, so it's increasing that value and assigning it again. Sorry, wrong name, the array 1. So let's check that out. Oh, and let me print out the array. So I'm going to make another for loop to print it out again. So for value in, it actually does not matter what word you put here because it's like a variable that you're storing the value in. So for value in array, print value. So check that out. So we can see here that all the values were increased by 1. I know that this is a little bit more of a confusing topic, but believe me, if you practice arrays and iterating through arrays is going to be really important in app development and other coding as well.